This is Miss Lori, and today we're going to learn about our tower garden. Our tower garden is a hydroponic growing device that we plant seeds in, and they grow into plants that we can eat. So this way we're learning about the parts of a plant and how seeds grow so that we can see how lettuce and kale and carrots and squash grow, and then we can pick it and we'll be able to eat it. So we're learning, let's say, from farm to table, how our food is grown. So last week we learned about the seeds of a plant. This week we're learning about the roots. Roots will be visible in the tower garden plants because they will not be hidden by soil. Growers of aeroponic plants may be amazed at the abundance of root growth in their plants. Roots are the most overlooked parts of a plant because in nature we do not see them as we do the stems, leaves, and flowers. Roots comprise about 1/4 to 1/3 the total weight of a plant and are essential to its growth and health. The functions of the root is to anchor the plant in the ground, bring water with dissolved minerals into the plant from the ground, store products of photosynthesis from the leaves. So, what do roots do? They anchor the plant. They anchor the plant in the ground. They bring water with dissolved minerals into the plant from the ground, and they store products of photosynthesis from the leaves. So sugars and starches that are like food for the plant to consume so that it'll grow to be healthy. Some roots are called fibrous. They branch out in all directions. And they're about the same length. Monocots like grasses, corns, and lilies have fibrous roots. Others, called taproots, have a main downward growing root with smaller roots branching off from it. Carrots, radishes, beets, parsnips, and turnips are storage taproots since they hold sugars and starches made in the leaves. Most dicot plants have taproots. Root hairs are an extension of the root responsible for bringing water to the plant. So this is a fibrous system, and this is a taproot system. You can see the difference. For this one, it branches out in all directions. This one just keeps going down and down and down into the ground. So, common misconceptions about roots. The idea that water is absorbed into the plant by the leaves is a misconception. Water being absorbed by underground roots in the soil cannot be observed, but droplets on the leaves can be observed, further supporting this misconception. So you see water coming onto the trees or water coming onto the leaves of plants, and you think that it's the water that is being absorbed that is actually watering the plants. But what is watering the plants, what they get the nourishment from, is the water that's up underneath them on the ground, or in our case, inside of the tower garden, not on the outside of the tower garden. The nutrients from that. The notion that nutrients and water that come from the soil are food for the plant. Fertilizer is called plant food, and we know that plants need water to grow. So the leaves make the food for the plant, not just the root making the food for the plant. So you have fibrous root and taproot. Living things need water, and plants are living organisms. How do they get their water? So, if we had a plant, and we're going to see that if you're going to have in your booklet that I'm sending to all students, there's going to be a seed in there, and you're going to be able to plant it into the soil, and you have a pot. And when you plant it, of course, you're going to have to water it. So if you're going to water the plant, then you go ahead and water the leaves and water the soil. But when you water the leaves, that is not actually where the plant is getting the moisture from. It's getting the moisture from the soil, the root hairs, the part of the plant that is the root, the stem. Now, why do you think that some plants, like the ones we call weeds, sometimes grow back after we pull them out of the ground? That's a good question. Plants can grow back after you pull up the top growth. Those with long taproots like dandelion, a foot or more in length, or those roots that spread by sending out rhizomes are especially prone to growing new shoots. So as long as the root is still in the ground, the plant is still going to grow. It's going to grow like another plant. So you'll see with our tower garden that even though we're cutting off the leaves, and that's what we eat, is the leaves, the root is still going to be in the garden, and so that is going to continue to have the plant to grow. So in the tower garden, roots begin in wool cubes, and then extensive root development appears in the interior of the tower, and the roots hang down, but they do not anchor the plant in the same way that soil does. The plants are not subject to effects of strong winds, foot traffic, lawnmowers, or competition for resources. So the roots will still bring nutrient-rich water into the plant, but the root tip does not have to push through hard ground to grow. So, what part of the plant is the sweet potato? That's right. The potato grows underground, and the leaves come from that potato. So actually, the potato is a root. And a white potato, see, the potato is the root. Garlic. And how do earthworms help plant roots to grow? By dying in the soil and aerating the soil. More water and fertilizer can get into the soil, which is what the earthworm brings. And how do ants help plant roots grow? Ants do the same thing. They can travel through and make the soil aerated so air and water can get through to the root. So, when you get your seed, you're going to plant it in the soil, and it's going to grow up like this. Remember that the root is going to be inside the soil, and the leaves and stems are going to be on top. And how would the growth of a plant be affected if its roots were cut off? Well, for one, it's not going to grow because the plant's not going to grow if the roots are cut off because they're not going to get any food to the plant. And why does watering a plant mean to water the soil around the plant? Because the water on the leaves is not what gives the plant nutrients. The water in the soil or at the root does. So that's our lesson on all about roots. And happy planting. And then I'm going to show you in another video what we're doing with the tower garden now and what plants we have inside the tower garden. So until next time, bye-bye.